Welcome to the Global Woman series, a summer of honest conversations with women navigating life between worlds. From grief and reinvention to finding love at 39, these are the real, raw, and wise stories of global women redefining home, identity, and connection. Over the next few weeks, you'll hear from inspiring voices who've lived the questions about belonging, purpose, relationships, and what it really means to choose this life abroad. I'm Amanda Maxime, and this is This Expat Life. I'm so glad that you're here, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of This Expat Life. I'm joined again by Anne Verhoeven in the digital studio because I interviewed Anne recently and we hit it off straight away that we thought, okay, we need to have another episode where we're going to dive much deeper into love, relationships, dating, and starting a family or not. And this is going to be a very open conversation, hopefully also inspiring you and also showing you that we also struggle with certain things and how we are improving things for ourselves. So, Anne, welcome again. And first off, where are you calling in now?
Great question. Since I've seen you, I've been in two other countries. So we recorded the last episode in Berlin. I've already been in the Netherlands and Switzerland, and now I'm in London. So greetings from a very gloomy East London today.
Yeah, wow, you travel so much. It's very gloomy here too. I'm in the Hague and it's raining a lot. So I think we have similar weather. Yeah. Hooray for summer.
Absolutely. Yeah, and actually, you mentioned just before we started recording that you are heading off somewhere sunnier.
Yes, I am. I'm flying to San Francisco next week, although I'm not quite sure when we're going to air this, but I'm flying to California. First time to San Francisco. I've never been there, and I'm going to travel around for 2.5 weeks. Yeah, and spend some time there. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Okay, so first of all, please let me send you all my tips because I have
Yes.
so many. I need to know. Like, where are you? Do you know where you're staying yet in SF?
A friend booked a hotel. Like there were so few options left that we just
Yeah.
found something that was all right, and we're going to stay there for 2 nights, and then we're heading off to Yosemite, the Big Sur. Then we have a business event around Anaheim, south of LA. And then I'm going to go to Palm Springs, Joshua Tree. And then on my own, I'm going to Ojai and Los Alamos. Not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. And then I'm finishing in LA to hang out with a friend. So it's going to be an amazing trip.
Oh my gosh. And is that vacation? I mean, you said you're at a work, you're doing an event, but are you kind of remote working or are you off?
I I will try to be off. Let's put it that way. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a business owner, like it never fully stops. But I will let my clients know I'm on a break. But I will bring my laptop because knowing myself, there's probably a thing I need to do still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I get that. And okay, first of all, amazing itinerary, like no notes on that. Um, that's incredible. And you've named a few of my favorite places. Love Yosemite. Okay, we need to chat on the side about
Yeah.
this. Also, LA, like if you've got a friend there, I always say that Los Angeles is quite, people go there and they're like, we don't understand. Like it's kind of ugly, like it's kind of hectic. But if you know someone there,
Yeah.
or if you're going to be with a friend, you can really get into the food scene because the food there, some of the best international cuisine in the world, but it's really a bit secretive. It's not obvious. You have to really look for it. So that's
Yeah.
great.
So I'm very lucky because I coach so many people from all over the world that I was coaching someone who lived in California for a long time, and she always sends me all her tips and places I need to go to. So I'm very grateful that I always get so many tips and where to go. So that's amazing.
Okay, incredible.
Yeah. But you know San Francisco pretty well as well.
I do. I
And
do.
can we dive a little bit deeper into why that place is so special for you and who is still there?
Yes, we can. My favorite topic. Basically, I think I mentioned in the last episode, I worked for a like a Berlin-based German company in tech for a few years, and then they got acquired by an American company, and that American company's headquarters is in Palo Alto, which is in the Bay Area. Palo Alto is probably like, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes from SF, San
Hmm.
Francisco, the city. And so I've spent a lot of time there over the last 3.5 years um, for work. And then, very luckily, just as fate would have it, I met my boyfriend on a work trip last November. So yeah, my boyfriend's there. He's based in San Jose, but it's not far. It's kind of just all in the same area.
Nice. This is just maybe not everyone has heard the last episode, but I
Yeah.
remember you weren't on dating apps on this work trip, right? And then you did, and it was the first match. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, basically, like I don't know how much we want to look back over our shoulders, but um, I basically was living in London, single, and I had been on the dating apps in London, and I had some really not ideal experiences on those apps for the like all of 2024. So I just met quite a few guys that, let's say, presented themselves as something and ended up being something else.
Hmm.
Were not self-aware, kind of did that whole thing where they come on really strong, like love bomb you, and then they disappear or ghost you. I had a catfish. That's a whole other story.
Okay.
Yeah, I had like it was so bad that I thought, you know what? I'm switching off the apps. No more apps. I'm just gonna get it out there and meet people organically. If it's meant to happen, it will happen. I can't do this anymore. As I'm sure a lot of listeners have done, where they kind of go through phases where they
Yeah.
get on the apps and then they're like, no, I can't do this, or they have some not good luck on there, and then you kind of get disheartened. I think it's really easy to get disheartened because I think we forget that like apps are a business. It's monetization and the way that the product works. It's not to the goal isn't really necessarily to help you get off the app. It's like it's kind of gamified. So I think that's a whole other topic. But like basically, I was like, no, I don't want to do this. And then it was actually a colleague of mine colleague and friend who said like, oh, why don't you just turn on the apps and just see if you could, maybe meet up with someone. Like, we all have friends in that area. So when we're there for work, we often socialize after work when we can. And I just thought, no, I'm too tired. Like work's busy. I don't really want to meet someone new. But I yeah basically turned on the app, and he's the only guy that I spoke to on the app, even though I had a lot of like I had an influx of likes and roses.
Hmm.
That the app, like because it's Hinge, and
Yeah.
people if they send you a rose like it's special or something. I was waking up every day to like 50 to 70 interactions, likes, roses. And I thought, whoa, my God. But he's the only guy that I was drawn to. And yeah, it's interesting. Like it just felt different from the beginning. And I think that maybe like what I did to my profile at that point, because when I went back on, I thought, you know what? I want to just maybe update my profile so it's a bit more intentional and a bit more like me, like updated and really who I am. Because at this stage, I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah. Okay. I want to dive deeper into all of this, but maybe let's
Mm.
start at the beginning. My
Yeah.
brain works that way. So you
Yeah.
were in London and you
Yeah.
were disappointed there. So can you share a little bit about your dating experience there? You
Oh
want
my
to?
God. Yeah, yeah, I can. I can. Like there were two main guys that were like one after the other in succession that both did the same thing. And that is that they came on really strong, promised the world, were full of like this, like
Hmm.
there was all talk and no follow through.
Yeah.
They were both very, like, I don't want to look, I don't, they were different people, but both of them were not babies, let's put it that way. They were in their late 30s to early 40s. And actually, the second guy was closer to mid 40s. So you'd think, you've got some maturity. Apparently not. Um, like both of them only lasted like a matter of several weeks, not even months. Actually, maybe a few months. Like it was like several weeks to a few months both. And
Hmm.
basically, they both did the same thing, which was come on really strong and love bomb, which
Hmm.
is what people talk about these days. And I thought I was putting up boundaries, and I thought that I was quite boundaried, like I was quite self-aware, and I knew about this kind of thing, and yeah, I still kind of fell for it, and I think fell for it to an extent. Like I was kind of, you know, aware of their bad behavior, and I was just keeping my boundaries up. And I think that's probably why it didn't last long, because they knew they couldn't mess with me in a
Hmm.
way. Like they knew I wasn't an easy target. And so I think like let me just give you an example. One of them, the second one, was so coming on so strong that I actually had a little like a medical procedure, an operation coming up a month or two after we met. and we were just chatting, and he found out about it, and he said, "I'll take the day off," even though we'd only been dating a few weeks. He said, "Look, this is definitely like a thing. Like this is an amazing connection. I'll take the day off work and I'll come and like drive you to the hospital. I'll wait for you and I'll be
Mhm.
that person who picks you up after the anesthesia because you need
Yeah.
someone to take you, a friend or something. And I don't have family here, so I was looking for a friend to be that person. And he offered to be that. And I remember thinking that's a bit too soon. Like I actually didn't accept initially because I thought that's a bit maybe too much when we've just
Yeah.
met, but I still thought that was a huge, amazing, kind, like nice thing to offer. Um, and literally, like a week before the surgery, he ghosted me,
Mhm.
and I was like, my God, like it was just. I remember that was a rock bottom moment where I realized, my gosh, like this dude like promised the world, and he came on so strong. Like he was voice noting me all the time. He was like talking about all the trips we're gonna do. He was like traveling, I was traveling, and he was like, the language he used was very intense quite quickly. And I thought, oh, there's that old fashioned idea of like when you know.
Yeah.
And like my dad proposed to my mom after like 2 weeks of dating back in the
Wow.
80s. No, crazy. Like I've got all these love stories in my family that are like examples of that when like that romance,
Yeah.
right? And so I think I'm like a bit of a old school romantic. And so I don't, even though I'm very aware of like all these kind of things, I still
Mhm.
don't want to be a pessimist. I want to be open.
Yeah.
And so the way he was presenting himself was so good that I thought, oh wow, this is it, maybe.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so that was a rock bottom. I remember when I had to find a friend to come and pick me up from hospital at short notice because this guy had disappeared. Um, that was pretty bad. And I thought, you know what? I just can't, like, what is happening?
Yeah. Wow, I can totally imagine, especially if it's before medical procedure and you're there without any family and you're just like, okay, what the actual fuck did just happen here? And I think that's
Yeah.
basic kindness, right? You don't just disappear, you talk about it. But there are so many guys and women, I think, as well, who do it.
Yeah, it's like they think that they don't owe you anything. And I think to a certain point you don't. Like if you're chatting on the apps and you've never met yet, you
Yeah,
don't, or even if you've been on a date, like there's a level of accountability that, you don't need to have a face to face or a call. Like, there's certain levels of
yeah.
accountability that aren't needed. But at this stage, we'd been dating like a little while, um and I just think like I didn't ask you to offer that. Why promise me the world? Why say all these things? I didn't ask him. I didn't say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so lonely. I need someone to pick me up." Like I had a few friends that were ready to help, but he kind of stepped in, and it was like it was weird. It was very strange, and I just think but there were red flags. Let me be clear. Like the fact that on our first date he said to me something along the lines of, "Oh, people throw around this idea of doing the work or self work,"
Mhm.
and he kind of said, "Oh, I just think that's." He kind of brushed it off, and
Mm.
I remember thinking, "Oh, like, oh," because that's really important to me.
Yeah,
And like, when we chat a bit more about my current relationship, like that was one of the things that was so clear that our values were aligned on. And I think when you get that niggle and that moment in the early stage where you're like, "Ooh, that doesn't sit right," it's maybe good to pay attention.
yes, I so agree. Especially, well, I learned this lesson myself, especially a couple of years ago, I think. Yeah, my heart got broken so badly. Yeah, exactly 2 years ago. And it took me 6 months to get over this guy.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, whatever he was doing at the end, he was already doing that in the beginning, just in different ways. And if I had paid a little bit more attention, he wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't, intentionally bad or anything, but it didn't align with what I wanted. And
Yeah.
if I just had paid a bit more attention, I would see it coming already. And so I'm not, so much more aware now that like guys through their actions will show them what they want, what they find important. And yeah, it's so funny. I'm so much more aware now. So I'm dating right now, like general dating, not with one
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
I'm going on dates. And most of the guys come to The Hague for the first date. They make the effort to come to me, uh,
Yeah.
which is, I think, not a typical Dutch thing because it's very equal here. But now I just confirmed a date with someone who suggested meeting in a city in between us.
Yeah.
I'm right away seeing that, oh yeah, that is someone who is not making that effort. And I really appreciate a man who makes that effort from the beginning. It's be
Mm,
equal afterwards, but I like to see some effort in the beginning.
yeah, I agree. And I think I'm now just thinking of this guy as well, like similar thing of where he didn't make that effort, and I was excusing it, um, saying, "Oh, but he's being very, yeah, egalitarian, as you say," and he was explaining it like he works at a university and he's not like earning the most amount of money, and I was like, okay, like the weird thing is like, I'm so understanding and I'm so like, I'm independent. I don't need someone to sweep me off my feet
Yeah,
necessarily, but I think it's, as you say, it's more about the effort and the showing that they're putting, like that they care, and
yeah.
it means a lot. Like it really means a lot.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And I'm just like you, I'm so understanding and I know he has a busy day the next day, but so do I. And
Yeah.
I still appreciate it when guys do that.
Mm.
I'm really curious because I lived in Latin America where it's like the opposite when it comes to dating.
Yes.
Um, I think this is also why like I do really appreciate now when a guy makes a bit more effort, but also the full Latino ways is not my style. How did you find it like dating in London from a cultural point of view? Like, did you notice any difference compared to San Francisco or Australia or Switzerland?
Yeah, like before I answer that, I just need to ask, like, what can you just sum up like the Latina style that you're talking about? Because I think I know what it is, but I just want to be sure like what you experienced. Was it like over the top romance or?
Well, I mean, I've lived in Latin America in different phases of my life. So the last time I dated there, I was like for a year single, I think, in Brazil, and I
Oh
dated like
wow.
two guys there. I had two like situationships, but they're very like they put you on a pedestal and they give you so many compliments, which is nice. And it's really like a loving language, and they are so, I don't know the word in English, but like a gentleman. So they open the
Yeah.
doors for you and they pay, and yeah, it's great. Um, but yeah, for me, it's a bit too much and it's too full on. And there comes a point that this has happened with all the Latin men I dated. After 2, 3 months, there comes a switch where they get a little bit more jealous, a little bit more possessive, a little bit more controlling. And I really don't want to generalize, but that has been my experience.
Super interesting. That's yeah, so I've had some experience with that, but I think and I can imagine that. I think to your question, like I would say that the difference between the guys I've met on the dating apps here in London versus Sydney, probably quite similar, to be fair. I didn't feel much of a difference. But then again, I haven't dated in Sydney for a very long time, like a decade. So I would say I don't have updated data on that to
Yeah.
share with. But from what I know, like from my, teens and 20s and everything, I think there's like there's kind of this game and this dance that happens at the beginning of dating, both from what I experienced in Sydney and here in London, where it's like the kind of the rules, like playing it cool and kind of, you know, let them write to you first. And like, there's kind of things that you get caught in your head about like, oh, I don't want to write back straight away. Or like, if he hasn't written in a few days, like he doesn't like you. Like, there's all these kind of things around dating that I find really anxiety inducing, to be honest. But I think the general culture is like, I guess there's not so much of that like effusive kind of expression of emotion or being as in touch with your emotions or
Mhm.
like upfront. Like so maybe it might be quite different to the what it's like in Latin America where it's a bit more expressing their feelings and saying giving you compliments and all that type of thing like a lot of language, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a bit more restrained, and I think maybe it's similar to Dutch, although I've never dated Dutch guys. But definitely it's also similar to Swiss. Like I think, I mean, I only have one example there with my ex, and I think there was definitely some, you know, like you really have to work to get
Yeah.
the words, like the communication that you need. And I think one of my love languages is words of affirmation, as well as like, um, yeah, I think that's, communication is just so important.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so important, especially in a long distance relationship. So I think it often felt like I was trying to get blood out of a stone, and kind of be on the same emotional level and get deep and get connected to someone, um, in all of those places, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
What I would say, like I noticed straight away, and I don't know if it's to do with, my partner being the right person for me, and I just really feel that he's like my guy, or if it's something that represents like the dating culture in America or California. But I would say that, um, the main difference that I felt instantly with him when I connected with him on the app was that he seemed as intentional about dating or on the same page, knew what he wanted, expressed what he wanted. It felt like I was looking in a mirror.
Mm.
Um, because normally it's a bit more like, oh, figuring out, oh, do they like me? Like that, the games, like playing it cool. And there was none of that. It just felt like, for example, like on my dating app, I'd put looking for, it says like looking for, and you could say short term thing, don't know.
Yeah.
Um, and I had the most committed one. I don't know if it's like
Life
life
partner.
partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I got real about that because I think maybe there's one step down that says like long-term relationship.
Yes. Yeah.
And I changed it because in London I'd felt a bit like that was uncool or like a bit too much to put life partner, even though
Yeah.
that was my deepest desire and my goal.
Yeah.
But I felt like the dating atmosphere here was a bit like, just kind of don't be too much,
Yeah.
don't be
Yeah.
too out there. And so, I think I had actually, yeah, changed it to in London. I changed it to long term relationship.
Oh, okay.
It's almost like I'd compromised on what I wanted because I didn't want to
Yeah.
seem too desperate. Um, and basically, when I connected with Harmon, like my gosh, he had the same thing on his.
Yeah.
And also, so I'd actually done some work on like figuring out that I was open to a family for the first time ever. That's a whole other thing we can chat about, the family topic,
Well,
because I'd been with people who didn't want children my whole life, and that had kind of blocked my vision around that topic. And I think what I did was I actually updated my profile to say like open to a family or open to kids, or not once, because or maybe I did say once, but anyway, it was more like open to the child topic, whereas, I hadn't even included that on my profile in the UK. So and he had the same thing. So we really matched in our apparent like goals
yeah.
on the app. And then our first date, second date, like I knew straight away that we were kind of aligned with what we were looking for. And there was no playing games. There was no like, he messaged me straight away after the first date. Like he was very communicative with his intentions. Like he wanted to see me again. Like he didn't play it cool. And I think that's what I'd had for maybe decades of my life, like dudes playing it cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's refreshing then to have someone who's just normal.
Yeah. I don't know. Like on the American topic, right? Have you dated any Americans before?
No, but I have dated someone who's lived in the US for a longer time. And I feel I did get a sense of the American style there, where it's very much like, well, this was East Coast, so I'm not quite sure
Okay.
if it's
Yeah.
different to the West Coast, but very much like, this is what I want. And do you meet these requirements or not? Um, are we aligned? Are we on the same page in what we want for the future? And if
Yeah.
not, I have a feeling, and I've heard this from other people before. I had Candice Gallagher on the show earlier, who also shared something about dating in New York. That it's
Hmm.
almost like in sport, and everyone just has dates after dates. And I think they're really quick in assessing, like, okay, is this even going to work on paper? If not, like, we're not even going to try it any longer.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's super interesting, and I think like there's something, in my experience and from what I've heard as well, that maybe it's like there's a bit more of a traditional, marriage and family. mindset and like model still happening over there? Because I know like you coming from the Netherlands, I know some of my Dutch cousins and Dutch friends, they talk about how like marriage is not as it's not considered as important, or it's quite like
Yeah.
it could be considered old fashioned in the Netherlands, whereas in America it's still very much a thing. Like, and you see
Yeah.
that based on reality shows like Love Is Blind. Like the
Yeah.
goal is marriage, the goal is a family, and I think those traditional values still seem strong over there. And I think maybe that's what's like guiding a bit more of that intentionality and like guys being clear on what they want because they're aiming towards that.
Could be, yeah, could very well be. I've heard that before about those more traditional values, but also maybe it's just the American way of how they approach everything.
Mm.
Very like goal results driven. And
Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. But I have to say my experience has been like very, very little. So
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
probably stereotypes.
I, if I'm honest, I would really like I don't know, we're just getting to know each other, but I could personally vouch for like how great it is. Like it I swear and I know it's probably just like that he's the right person for me, but I do have a feeling because I've spoken to other friends about this that dating Americans is a bit more like, as you said, goal oriented. They know what they want. They're a bit more clear, solutions like success driven, and it's that approach to me is so refreshing because there's no smoke and mirrors. There's no
Yeah.
like none of this like playing around and you know like like an ex of mine was always so afraid of commitment and showing that we were publicly together.
Hmm.
We never wanted to post anything on social media. Like there was no trace of our relationship online. Whereas like Harmon is just like my Insta boyfriend. He's part of
Yeah.
my content. He's helping me shoot the content.
Yeah.
He's my cheerleader. He's so supportive and he's proud to have me on his arm. He's proud to share that with the world. And I swear, in my 40 years on this planet, I've never been with a guy who was proud to show me off. And it's like,
Mm.
I can't tell you, like, I've got a lot of confidence in myself and my life is great. I'm so done all this self work, but the feeling of like being with someone who wants to be with you as much as you want to be with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate to that in a way. And I'm actually curious to hear from you. Like, did you have to learn or unlearn something in order to receive that kind of love?
Mm. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think so. Look, I think you know what I had to do? I had to strip away, like after a lot of, heartbreak and my big long-term relationship in my 30s, with my Swiss ex, like when that all ended after we kept trying to get back together and it didn't work out. I think I was 37 when that finally ended. And then after that I was dating a bit in London, the dating experiences I told you about. But I think during that period, I hit a bit of a rock bottom because it was like I'd spent, let's say, 8 years of my life barking up the wrong tree, as we say in
Mhm.
Australia, like going for something that was never really going to work out. And so I had to come to terms with all the time that I'd spent there and all the disappointment and the heartbreak. And I think it really hit me at 37. And so at that point, I really got into a lot more coaching and a lot more kind of getting to the bottom of my patterns and you know let's say like looking a bit more into why I would stay in that kind of relationship, why I would accept kind of breadcrumbs, why I would compromise on my values and stuff. And I think part of it was that I wasn't clear on my values, or I wasn't able to really own and really truly say this is what I want,
Yeah.
because I'd been so led by like society and other people and influenced by other people that I just was accepting whatever came to me and not being very intentional and clear with what I wanted. And so I think like sorry, I've gone off on such a tangent. What was your initial question?
It's okay.
What was your initial question? Sorry.
Oh, what you had to learn and unlearn to receive that kind of love from Harmon.
Mm. Yeah, I think the learning was learning what I want, learning really what I want, not what other people or society thinks I should want, getting clear on my values, getting clear on my like vision for my life. Um, and also unlearning, I would say, unlearning accepting scraps, unlearning accepting whatever just came to me. I think I didn't have high enough standards earlier. So people talk a lot these days, like some very angry people out there say, oh, women are too picky these days. And it's like, no, I've spent my whole life like with lower standards because I've just been accepting whatever came to me, and not really having the inner strength or the inner confidence to ask for what I want, to the universe or to whatever, like even just imagine that something's possible, that a certain life is possible for me. Um, and so I think I had to really, yeah, like strip away these limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
And I don't know where they came from. Like, I mean, if you talk to a shrink, they'll be like, oh, that time you were bullied on the
Yeah.
school. Yeah, I weirdly I was actually bullied a lot at school, in primary school and high school, because I was like quite. I went to a very sporty school. Like in Australia, it's all about sports, and I was very quiet, very shy, and I was very like artistic and like bookish. And so there were so many mean girls, and I went to a girls' high school with just girls. Um, anyway, there was a lot of bullying, and like maybe someone would say, "Oh, because that girl told you when you were 6 years old that you're not pretty enough to sit with us or something." Like
Yeah.
that could have impacted, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's the kind of work I do in my coaching too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We go very deep. Yeah.
Wow. So you go back to like childhood and everything?
Yeah, not all the time, but with most of my clients, yeah, we go back to some childhood stuff. And I'm coaching a CEO at the moment who is like making multi-million dollar decisions in his company, and he's been doing amazing things professionally, and then he's still coming to terms with how his dad treated him, and there's a lot of emotion there, and we make space for
Wow.
it. Yeah, and we have seen that the way he grew up with his dad not giving him the recognition that he wanted, that he was craving, has led him to achieve, 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 and always professional success. And it served him well, but you get to the point where you're filling a void rather than doing it really from the authentic you.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of that work that I had to kind of get in touch with, as you say, the authentic me, and I think figure out what I want, and also um, work on the self-love part. Like that sounds, everyone talks about self-love, but I think I was truly in a place of like self-happiness and really grounded, you know, like my life is so full, and kind of focusing on gratitude for how great my life was, my friends, my health, you know, the wonderful life I've built. Like almost by focusing on everything I had, I almost like amplified the gratitude. And I think maybe it makes you more magnetic for the right kind of things to come to you, because I was in a place where when I opened the apps, like to be clear, when I got to America on this work trip, it was August last year. And that's when I connected with Harman on the app. And, I wasn't opening the app out of frustration. I was
Mhm.
opening the energy was not fear. It was the
Yeah.
energy was, they say like you could do things out of fear or love, like that they're
Mhm.
the two paths. And it's like it was out of like interest and excitement and kind of let's see what happens and openness. It wasn't out of like, oh my God, I'm about to turn 40 next year. I need to find someone. It wasn't out of fear. So I think that's a really important thing, is that like I have been on apps before in the wrong energy state, like
Yeah.
where I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting older, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, like I can't go back to Australia again without a partner. Like, all these like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. It's more out of a neediness than.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. And I do also think it makes a difference. I think really your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So if you can shift your energy first, it will start to appear in your outer world as well. I really do believe.
yeah. That's such a good way to put it, actually. That's exactly what I meant. Thank you.
And I actually wanted to say something about those dating apps and you being so intentional about it because
Yeah.
when I went back on Hinge, I wasn't on the apps for a year because I had like international situationship one after another
Yeah.
that I just found randomly in my life. But I went back on Hinge and I right away put life partner on there. And
Good.
I also put very specifically, I'm a global citizen and I want to move abroad again. And also, I want to have kids, even though actually I'm not quite sure if I want that, but I put it on there because I really realized it's like marketing. If you're trying to be vanilla and blend in, no one's gonna hate you, but you're not, no one's gonna choose you. Like who chooses vanilla at the ice cream store, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people. My
No,
uncle always does, but like everyone else goes for chocolate or like I don't know, something mango, whatever. So I really feel like you want to show the full you, what you are about, what you want, so that you will repel the wrong ones for you and really attract the right ones for you that go like, oh yeah, this is exactly my person because of these specific details. So
you are, yeah, you are. I'm so in agreement. I actually did that before I met my boyfriend. And it's what you said, like, I heard someone say recently, like, be for the few, not the many.
mm,
Which is the same thing. And I think it's like if you can show your most authentic you, then as you said, you might be the, mint chocolate chip flavor, not vanilla, but that's going to attract the right person. And
yeah,
that's what I did. So that's literally what I did. And that would be my big piece of advice for people if they're looking to, let's say, try and attract the right person by updating their profile. Um, like the things that I did was definitely I changed my parameters, like I said, you know, life partner,
yeah,
wants children, like wants a family. I also updated with newer photos because what do you think about this? Like we all have great photos and we all like change all the time and like go through different hair colors and weight and fitness or
hmm
whatever. But like I've got some favorite photos of mine that I think I realized were a little bit old on the apps. And I thought, you know what? I want to try and keep my photos at least within a year, if not 6 months. What do you think about what is catfishing to you in terms of a photo?
I don't know. I don't know. My photos, I think my oldest photo is maybe already 4 or 5 years old because it's a group photo and I'm like very small. It's the only fun group
It's
photo that
fine.
yeah.
That's fine.
All the others are newer ones.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
as long um but I've seen photos, the first photo that I'm like, oh yeah, let's show me more. And then you go further down and you're like, but wait, this is 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I must admit, like that's one thing is that I did update my photos to be more current, even if I didn't feel like I looked as glamorous as I used to 5 years ago. I
Mhm.
wanted to be really authentic as to how I am now because um I don't know, I just think a photo refresh is really good to be more like this is me now. This is me like as recently as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I'm going to say this. I'm going to call out dudes. A lot of dudes use really old photos.
Yeah.
I think anything more than a year, depending on what you've like been through, can be quite deceiving, if you ask me. So I think like update your photos just so that you can be very much presenting your most recent self. And I think what else did I do? Oh yes, I opened up my geographic perimeter. So, for example, the Bay Area is quite big, and so you're going to be in San Francisco, like that's the city, and then Harmon lives in San Jose, which is
Mm.
like an hour drive from San Francisco. And so, if I hadn't had my perimeters on as wide, I would never have connected with him.
Yeah.
And so I opened it up to the whole area, which honestly, like some people wouldn't do. They'd be like, no, 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 they have to be in the city because it's like, I don't want to have to drive. And I'm like, ugh. Like, I just think with the right person, and you would know this too, being international, like with the right connection, you can figure out the logistics later.
Yeah, I so agree. Yeah, logistics and distance really doesn't matter to me. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, no, I think dating apps, like, do a little edit of your dating app and get really true with who you are and present your true self because yeah, be the different ice cream flavor for
Yeah.
sure.
But also I've noticed that a lot of men don't actually read what's on the profile. So I'm very clear in like I want to move abroad again. And then, I had a date with someone, a foreigner living in the Netherlands, and I asked him, would you want to move abroad again? He was like, oh hell no, I'm staying here. I'm like, I did put that on my profile. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
I put things on my profile too. I'm like, okay, that's a no. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
if everyone, like the right person, if you find it important, the right person will also find it important, but you do have to go through, I don't know, guys who don't read that kind of stuff.
I agree, and I think that someone who reads is not your guy
Yeah.
or my guy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough out there. So, I would love to talk also a little bit about like starting a family because you're 39 or 40 now, I forgot.
I'm 40 now, so I turned 40 in March
Oh
in
yeah, right.
Pisces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you look younger.
Oh, thank you.
I'm 37.
Yeah.
We both, I think, haven't felt a strong desire for kids in our 30s, and we're now
Hmm.
changing that. So I would love to talk a little bit about that too, how it's
Yeah.
been for you, and yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I also like, I follow your journey on social and you've been quite open about your like the fertility stuff you've been
Yeah.
doing. Um, I'm so curious about that because honestly, like now that I know what I know, I kind of wish I'd done it. So I'm a bit like, how did you get to that place where you thought, okay, I'm just going to invest in this?
Yeah. So it last year or so, I was thinking, so when my relationship, it wasn't even a full relationship, but okay, when that thing ended 2 years ago, I really thought like, okay, um, actually, I think in my late 20s, I at some point knew, okay, I think I want to have kids and I want to like not wait too long. And I was in a
Okay.
relationship with someone where I really felt like, oh yeah, with him I could have kids. Unfortunately, that relationship ended. I went to live my international life again. And then so many things happened, but also this situationship. And this guy, he was a good guy, but he had difficulties making it official. And
Okay.
we were exclusive. We spent Christmas together with his family. It was
Oh
all
my
there, but like,
God.
yeah, I know. And I don't know why I
Story of my life. Story of my
yeah,
life.
yeah. So after, and I, in that moment, I grew a lot of resistance against motherhood.
Mm,
Because I didn't, what I realized only after the relationship is that I need to be in a strong, safe relationship first for me to nurture that desire again, because it's not a natural wish for me. I
mm,
can only
mm.
feel it when I'm with someone. And what I realized a couple of weeks ago is that it's such an open door, but I live in front of a primary school, and every time now it's really quiet because it's summer holidays, but there's so much noise all the time. Kids screaming, kids playing football. Every time I leave the house, I see kids, and I don't see
Right.
anything inspiring. So what I see is this version of parenthood, motherhood, of just like waiting for your kids to come out of school
Yeah.
in easy clothes, and like I'm like, does no one work? Where's ambition here, you know?
Mm.
In that ambition era of my life. And so
Hmm.
I've been growing this resistance against motherhood and specifically against Dutch motherhood,
Okay.
where I
Okay.
feel like in the Netherlands, the moment you have kids, it's like you hide behind your front door. It's all about like the household. The calendars are filled up for the next 7 weeks. It's very hard to do something spontaneously. And I've seen it differently in other countries, especially in Latin America, where
Hmm.
is not easier, but it's just done differently and more spontaneous. And there's still a lot of time with friends. And that is the kind of motherhood I would envision for myself. But I wasn't seeing any positive examples except with my sister and a good friend, actually. And so for a long time, sorry, this is a long story, but
No, no, I love it. And yeah.
for a long time, I was like so resisting the idea of motherhood. And I really felt these societal pressures on me as well. Like everyone was asking me, how come you're still single? You know, the clock is ticking. I'm like, yeah, I know. You don't have to remind me of that. And so I was growing a lot of resistance. And then I heard about the egg cell freezing, and I was like, nah, I'd rather spend my money on getting laser surgery.
Hmm.
So I don't need my contacts anymore. And but I did give myself like, okay, Amanda, maybe in the next quarter or so, or next half a year, you do need to make a decision about it because you're turning 37 and you know you don't have that much time left. And I realized for myself that I wanted to be with someone who really wants to be with me in a full relationship and who wants to have kids because I
Hmm.
need that to grow my own wish. That was my first step. And then I was thinking about the axle freezing, but I was still resisting it. And then I was in a situationship with someone else who was very clear he wanted to have kids. And if I didn't want to have them, you know, then it wouldn't be compatible.
Yeah.
And it really forced me to think about it. And then I did speak with a friend about it who was also thinking about it. And then all of a sudden, I found two sort of friends that I didn't know had been doing that too. And they shared their pretty positive experience with it because only what I've been hearing in the media was like, it costs a lot of money and the hormones are a bitch. And I thought, I don't feel like doing that for myself. And when I heard the more positive experience, I was like, okay, but this is also how it can be done in an easy way, not out of neediness, but just as a little insurance, an extra insurance for yourself, um, where the hormones can also just be fine and you can live your normal life.
Yeah.
And yeah, then I started researching it, and the waiting lists were 15 months long for the public health here. I thought I don't have that time, so I went to a private clinic, and basically within 3 days, I decided, okay, I'm going to do it. And within 6 weeks, I had done it.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. I find that really, really inspiring, and I can really connect to what you initially said about when you saw children, when you saw motherhood, it wasn't inspiring to you. You
Yeah.
didn't feel connected to that. And I think, you know what? Let me just say a few things about that because I've had the same thing in
Hmm.
the past where it wasn't only that I wasn't with the right partner or I wasn't in a safe relationship, like a solid relationship to even think about children. But it was also the family stuff that I'd seen that kind of made me think, why would people do this? Like logically. So funnily enough, I have a background in babysitting and nannying. I used to look after children from the age of 14. I was looking after my neighbours' kids in
Wow.
Sydney. And then I started nannying professionally in my 20s, um, early 20s, like throughout university. And I actually had a very serious nannying job, like where I traveled the world with this quite
Oh,
illustrious family, let's say. Is that a word? Salubrious, whatever the word is, a fancy family.
yeah.
I was traveling around the world with them from the age of 25 to 27. And basically, like, I believe that if your job is children, potentially does something psychologically where it's like you're leaving work for the day and you're like, I got off work, and you're like leaving
Yeah.
the children behind. Like, I could hand them back, I was getting paid to look after children. Like, obviously, the thing is that I formed emotional connections with all the kids that I worked for. And to this day, I love kids. Like, if there's a child, I'll be like, hang out with them, drawing with them. Like I'm like, one of my nicknames is Annie the Nanny,
Mm.
um, because like I used to do that, and I love children. But I think maybe just being inside of people's homes and marriages and relationships, and being like that fly on the wall in people's lives. And there was some great relationships I saw. There was some obviously like I saw some great stuff, but I also saw dynamics that didn't inspire me.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, yeah, and like I love my sleep. I love peace and quiet. Like there are all these things that logically I'm like, how would I deal with that? Like how would I do that? But then, and also one other thing is that I swear I have two types of mum friends, like mums that retain their original personality and that retain their communication with you, and they still ask you questions about your life, and they still keep in touch, and they still send you voice notes. And then there are the friends that just disappear as
Yeah.
soon as they become mums. And I know that they're going through stuff, and I know that you have to like give them time, maybe until like maybe 5 years until the kid goes to school and then they get back to normal. But it's also like, what? Like, how is that friendship giving anything back to me? I don't know.
Yeah. Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I've heard. I haven't seen it that much around me, but thankfully, but I've heard that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know. It's just what I've been seeing here is like how I've been interpreting it is like, okay, your life is over the moment you get kids.
Yeah.
And I'm very much in this expansive mode, and I feel like at least in the Netherlands, the moment you get kids, you go back to I don't know, a small
Post. Yeah.
contracting kind of mode. Yeah. So
Mm.
that hasn't been very appealing to me. Um, but I am very explicit now in saying, okay, I do want someone who wants kids on the apps because I know I need that too to
Yeah.
overcome my own obstacle again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I agree with you. And I think there are some forms of like let's say some cultures that have, let's say, a more inspiring model or like
Yeah.
vision of motherhood, as you say. Like for me, to be honest, like my friend, I have a really good friend, Fee, in Berlin, and she has two kids now, like two babies, and she still comes to dinner with me. She still goes clubbing. Like, she's so
Yeah.
cool. She's still herself. And and she's very like organic, and the kids are up late because the sun's not setting until 10 o'clock in summer, so it's
Yeah.
okay if they're up and just hang out, whereas like there's a more rigid type of rule
Yeah.
based like thing in, let's say, in Australia, where it's like no, they have to be in bed
Yeah.
you know
Very true.
by this time. And I've just seen it, like the kids playing in the squares at nighttime in Barcelona or wherever it is. And it's like, wow, that's totally different way of doing motherhood. And I think there's a difference between like where you, for some reason, some people like, they have to kind of entertain the kids, or they kind of build their whole lives around doing children's activities. Whereas
Yeah.
other people just let the kids fit into the adult's life, which I think I
Yeah.
prefer.
Me too, me too. And actually, I was bitching about this, what I've been seeing and what I was resisting all the time. And a guy that I was dating said, "But Amanda, you know you can do it in your own way." I was like, "Yeah, okay, I guess within, to a certain extent, because there is a society that keeps you in a certain way stuck." But
Yeah.
I realized I've done my whole life in an unconventional way. So why not also do motherhood in an unconventional way?
Yeah, I agree. And that's like, I want to keep that spirit as well, for me moving forward. And I think it's like one of my coaches once said, like, you have to build this like mental Pinterest board, and you have to find people where you say, I'll have what they're having.
Yeah.
And I think having that vision of like relationships, for example, that helped me, I think, find my, you know that my partner is right for me, because I'd seen relationships that were like on my vision board of the type of partnership that I want. And I have a vision for like our life and like marriage and home and building a family that is, it doesn't have to be like everyone else, but I think we're fed so much
Yeah.
information, and like we're given a lot of pressure on how to do things.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, can you share something about like how you woke up at 37, I think you said, and realized, okay, I'm in my late 30s, my relationship didn't work out, maybe I do want to have kids, and how it is now for you being 40?
Yeah, it's funny because actually, like, it took me a few years after 37 to get to the kid part. I
Mhm.
reckon, I think actually I really realized I was open to a family at 39 last year.
When you met Harmon?
No, so I met him in November last year. We started chatting in August. We
Mhm.
connected on the apps in August, and then the next work trip I was in SF, we met in November. But it was early, like sometime in earlier that year, that I'd done this work, and I'd been through the dating stuff, and I'd realized that I was open to a family. So it was really like very fresh, and he was the first person I dated when I realized, like when I'd done that work to know that I wanted a family. And so even to this day, I've like, just to be fair, like it's quite a vulnerable thing to realize when you're 39 that you might be open to a family, when your whole dating life up until then, you'd never considered that an option,
Yeah.
or you'd never seen that as something that you were aiming towards.
Yeah.
I've had so many other like career goals, or international, like learning a language, like moving countries, no problem.
Yeah.
But a family, it seems like such a it didn't kind of fit into my worldly, international, ambitious, creative like life for myself.
Adventurous. Yeah.
And my goals are more like, okay, I want to publish this book and that book. I want to do this podcast, like all these projects, but to create a human, like what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I knew, like, from the first date with Harmon, I was already very clear that I was open to a family, and it would, like you, it would depend on the guy. And as soon as he was saying that, he'd had past heartbreak and disappointment, and he really was open to a family as well, but I could tell that the pressure was off with him, because he basically said, no expectation, like, because it depends on the other person, and if it happens, it happens. And we both were clear that we would be open to all types of family building. And that
Yeah.
was very important to me, that it wasn't necessarily for me now. It's not necessarily about having a biological child, because let's see what happens with our journey, but it's more about building a family. And that could be in various methods of like fertility stuff. That could be natural, that could be adoption, it could be surrogate. Like, we want to be open to everything, and he is open. He's the only guy I've ever been with that is not only open to a family, but is open to building a family in many different forms, because it's
Mhm.
about the family.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. I really love that.
Yeah.
And how are you? Because I know you're like somewhere in between London and San Francisco, and you're taking leaves, but things are still being figured out. So how do you deal with that uncertainty for your future, but also this wish to start a family when you're also not physically together to grow the relationship, right?
Yeah.
Have more
Yeah.
time together to live together. Yeah.
Honestly, it's a tricky space to be in right now. I'm not gonna lie, I have moments where I'm just like I get down or frustrated about it. Um, I have to keep grounding myself and bringing myself back to trust, trusting that it's all going to work out, trusting that I have this partner, I'm safe, I feel connected, and we're on the same page, and he's not going anywhere. It's going to work out. Like, we're going to make it work together. So I think
Mhm.
the way that our relationship is, which I never had before in a long distance relationship, was that we were heading, our eyes were on the same horizon. We both have the same goals. There's no question that we're going to make it work, no matter what that means, and also regardless of a visa. Like, I know that if my visa doesn't work out to America, he might come and move to a different country with me. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to make it work. It's we, not I.
Yeah.
So
Oh, nice. Yeah.
like, and I've never had that. And that's one thing, like, everyone's like, another long distance relationship. And I'm like, no, 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 you don't understand. This is different because it's always going to be how we're going to work this out. Is that a
Yeah,
cat?
sorry, it's the fluffy tail of my cat Fenton. Yeah.
So sweet. And
Yeah.
I've never had that before. So that's the main difference, is that it's like we're going to work it out. And so because of that, I think I just know it's going to work out, even
Yeah.
though it's weird. Like, I don't have the answers yet, but I just know that we're going to have a plan B, C, D, E if
Yeah.
plan A doesn't work out. And so that's how I'm not going insane right now. But I would say that honestly, this might be a bit TMI, but like we, I think both of us, we know what we want. We know we've met our person, and we are willing to flip up the traditional timelines that we both
Yeah.
thought, which is engagement, marriage, children, in that order.
Yeah.
We would be willing to flip it up. Let me just say that. But
Yeah.
because I'm not living there yet, we can't get going on certain things. So
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. Okay, but it's good. I mean, I think it also makes sense the older you get, like I've seen it, I've heard it so often, like people make bigger moves much quicker. And so, yeah, I think it makes sense. There's something that you said about like it's we now that really
yeah,
I could sense like when it's just you or me in this case, it can feel so hard to keep carrying yourself to push forward. And the moment you know it's a we, you can relax in like, okay, I don't have to do all the work somehow. It's
yeah,
us together carrying it. And I think it can help you trust in the process and relax a little bit more into it too.
yeah. Let me just say that I've never had a partner like this who um, is a true partner, who does say, we will figure it out. Oh, if I ever say, oh, I got this news that my visa was on hold, or it's not, the timeline is, there's some complication with me moving over. It was always, since the beginning, it's kind of been, oh, we'll figure it out, babe. Like, look,
Mm,
let's us just wait until you get that news, and then let's look at this, and it's like problem solving together. And I never had that. I swear, like my I almost can't believe it. I almost can't believe that this is possible, and I swear it's possible with the right person. They're going to be. How are we going to do this together? You're just going to be in it together. It's like, wow.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's so nice. I want that too.
Oh, and you will
Yeah,
find it. I swear, like, my gosh, I swear it's possible, and you deserve it. And I think we're so, like, I don't know what it is. Maybe this is this whole like we thing, and having that partner that's so supportive and on the same page. I have a feeling that that's how it should be. I have a feeling that that's like
yeah,
the basic, like, how
yeah.
it should be. But why, like, I do think that it's hard to find or something.
Yeah. It is hard to find, and I think, there are so many things that we can say about this, but I am starting to realize that I have this limiting belief of like I need to work hard for love, and I'm
Mm,
slowly letting that go, and I can really see, hey, I am open to all the love that I deserve. I'm willing to receive it now. I think
yeah.
it really starts there because maybe it was there for me in the past, but I wasn't open to it. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm doing a lot of work on it now. And for the first time in a long time, I think I really feel like, okay, I feel super optimistic. I know it's going to happen. And I'm actually 100% sure that the egg cell freezing process that I did was a factor in that. Because now I don't feel the pressure so much on the guy who needs to,
Mm.
we have this timeline and I need to know if he wants to have kids, and if we're compatible. But now I'm just like, okay, I've got a path for myself. If I at some point feel I really want to have kids, I can guess I can make that happen if it all works out. I don't need the guy for it. So it has eased this pressure a little bit on my next relationship too, where I can
Yeah.
just explore out of curiosity rather than also having to deal with this internal pressure.
That's amazing. I think that will work magic in a way to take the pressure off and to remove that timeline. That's what I've heard. So that's amazing. I'm so happy for you. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so happy for you too. I see you and Harman on your reels and stuff, and always like, oh, they're my new
oh,
favorite Instagram couple.
oh, that's so sweet. He'll be so happy to hear it. He'll be so happy to hear it. He's just such a sweetheart, and I think maybe he's been through his own challenges in love. I can't speak for him, but I know he's had his own relationship stuff, and you know, sometimes when I think, oh, I wish, we wish we'd met sooner. We both know that for whatever reason, this is when we met, and it's the right timing, despite the fact that it's late. But I tell you what, like we're gonna enjoy every minute of our lives from this point.
Oh,
That's how I feel, and yeah, honestly, like I'm just so happy, like and I think as you said, like having that good partner can ground you in trust, and maybe also like your, I know it's not the same, but maybe the egg freezing process that you went through, it allows you to relax a bit, and for me, it's almost like this partner, it's almost like this I am more relaxed. And people are like, how are you? You're not you're supposed to move to America, but you're still in London. What's happening? And I'm like, I can't give you updates, and I'm in limbo, but I'm so trusting
yeah.
somehow.
Yeah, because there's someone who's got your back. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, maybe
so
it's time to end this conversation because I think we can talk for more hours, but
yeah.
we've been talking for an hour, I think now. But it was so nice having you here on the show again. I would love to catch up the moment, your leap has been taken.
Yes, my leap is
Or
inland.
made.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can do a catch up then and how life is for you. It's really nice
Yes.
talking about these topics because I know we're not the only ones dealing with this. I have so many coaches who are smart, super capable women. They're fun. They have a group of friends. They live in an exciting city, and there's one puzzle piece missing, and it's the relationship or the family or both. And they really struggle with it quietly. And I think by opening up this space, they also feel understood. So,
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you so much for having me. I really I love chatting to you, and I'm so excited to share my own journey and experience with your listeners. So definitely, like, one thing I would say is that you're not alone. To anyone who's listening, like, it's a brave path that you're walking if you're living some sort of a life that is career oriented and maybe a bit international, and that puzzle piece that is missing, um it will fall into place. It just
mhm.
takes someone amazing like Amanda to maybe keep you on track.
Yeah, and a bit of time and just trusting the process, I think. Yeah. And you are a clear example of how to do that. So that's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. And we'll talk soon again.
Okay, bye.